You won't believe what Joe Rogan just said. He's now expressing serious doubts about the Charlie Kirk situation after a few body language experts analyzed what really happened during that now famous hug between Erike Kirk and JD Vance. If you've seen the hug, you know exactly the one I mean. Erike Kirk and JD Vance on stage. And the clip has sparked massive debate about whether it was entirely appropriate. Well, three professional body language experts dissected every single moment of that hug, frame by frame, and the conclusions they reached? Let's just say it's making even Joe Rogan pause and rethink what he thought he knew. By the time this video is over, you'll have a complete understanding of what these experts observed, things that most people completely miss. You'll also see why a hug lasting less than 3 seconds has dominated discussions online. And stick with me, because I'll also address the controversy around the outfit Erike wore just a month after losing her husband. It definitely raised some eyebrows. All right, let's start with the context, because without it, nothing else makes sense. This event happened on October 29th at a Turning Point USA gathering. Erike Kirk was there to introduce JD Vance before his speech. Keep in mind, this was only a few weeks after Charlie Kirk passed away on September 10th, so Erike was still grieving and adjusting to life as a widow. One of five, before JD even came on stage, Erike made a comment that immediately caught everyone's attention. She said that nobody could ever replace her late husband. Then she added that JD reminded her a lot of him. That one line sparked a lot of speculation and chatter. Then JD steps on stage and they share the hug. The internet reacted instantly, and people began analyzing every angle. Here's where it gets interesting. Most people never even watched the full video. Instead, two photos went viral, showing Erike's hand resting on the back of JD's head. Those frozen moments alone fueled thousands of online arguments. But here's the thing. Professional body language experts don't rely on still images. They need the full movement, the timing, and the context to make a proper judgment. That's exactly what they did. And their findings are fascinating. This is something that happens all the time whenever a clip goes viral. Jesus Enrique Rosas, a well-known body language analyst, often referred to as the body language guy, was asked to break down this hug. From the start, he pointed out that the controversy had been blown out of proportion because people were judging still photos, not the real-time interaction. He explained that freezing a single moment can make things look far more intense than they actually were. Those viral photos gave the impression that Erike's hand lingered on JD's head for an unusually long time. In reality, the hug lasted less than 3 seconds. Yes, that's barely enough time to blink. Even though the hug was brief, the body language experts still noticed something that made them uneasy, something subtle but noticeable to trained eyes. And remember, this isn't just one opinion. Multiple professionals noticed the same cues. So what did Rosas and the other experts actually observe? During the hug, Erike had one hand placed on JD's back. That's completely normal and typical of a professional greeting. No red flags. The other hand, however, went to the back of JD's head. Rosas described this gesture as potentially endearing, protective, or even possessive. Those were his exact words. He noted that it's a gesture that can carry more emotional weight than a casual hug, which is why it immediately drew it. Another point he raised was timing and motion. The hand moved in a way that suggested intimacy, but it was fleeting. Context matters here. This was a public setting, on a stage, in front of hundreds of people. A quick 3-second gesture can read very differently depending on perspective. Now let's pause and consider the psychological aspect. When people see a still photo online, their brains naturally fill in the gaps. Our minds assume a lingering, intimate moment because that's what we infer from the frozen image. But the video shows that everything happened quickly, less than 3 seconds. 339, Rosas also highlighted the subtle micro-expressions on both Erike and JD's faces. Erike's expression was composed, slightly strained, and professional. JD appeared neutral but responsive. These micro-expressions can tell you a lot about underlying emotions, and the experts noted that neither person displayed overt discomfort or inappropriate intent. However, Rosas and the team did mention that the gesture of placing a hand on someone's head is not something you see in a standard public hug. It's uncommon, which is why it caught so much attention. In the right context, it can signal care or protection, but it can also be misinterpreted, especially when shared online without context. Another expert added that body language is highly context-dependent. A single gesture can mean many things depending on timing, relationship, and emotional state. Erike had just lost her husband, JD reminded her of him, and she was speaking public. That context shifts the meaning dramatically compared to what the viral photos suggest. So, while the viral images created a storm of speculation, the real video analysis shows a much more nuanced story. It wasn't overtly inappropriate, it was brief, and the gestures could be explained by grief, familiarity, and a fleeting emotional connection. In addition to the hug itself, there was another element that drew attention: Erika's attire. Just a month after her husband passed, she wore an outfit that many people online found controversial. Experts suggest that in public appearances shortly after personal loss, choices like this can be heavily scrutinized and sometimes misinterpreted. When you combine the outfit with the hug and the viral photos, you can see why online commentary escalated quickly. But again, context is everything. Professionals who analyze the footage repeatedly emphasize that social media often amplifies misunderstandings. So what's the takeaway? The main lesson is simple: never judge a situation solely by frozen images or short clips online. Expert analysis, which considers motion, timing, and context, can completely change the narrative. For anyone curious, Rosas concluded that while the hug might look unusual to casual viewers, it doesn't indicate anything scandalous. The fleeting hand gesture, the brevity of the hug, and the micro expressions all point toward a complex but understandable human interaction rather than impropriety. In short, Joe Rogan's reaction is a reminder that even seasoned commentators can be surprised when expert insight is applied. What seems obvious from a single photo may not hold up under closer examination. Next time you see a clip go viral, remember, there's often more than meets the eye. The 3-second hug between Erike Kirk and JD Vance is a perfect example of how context and timing completely alter the perception of an event. And that's why body language experts are invaluable. They cut through the noise, showing us details most people miss. Finally, it's also a lesson in empathy. Erike had just lost her spouse, she was dealing with grief, and she was navigating a public platform. Human reactions are rarely simple, and understanding that complexity is key. So, whether you